pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. All right, so the first item of business is to review and approve the minutes from the last time we had a meeting. And you have those minutes? All right, did everybody get a chance to take a look at those minutes? This was the January 28th meeting. Anybody have any comments, edits, changes? Make a motion to approve the minutes as written. Do I have a second? Discussion.
The only problem is, it was really one main item that I was accused from. So, how do you want to vote? Because there's
You
only
can still
four of
vote.
us
You can
here.
still vote as long as you feel that the minutes are accurate. Doesn't really matter whether or not you were accused. I think one of the matters here. If you don't feel uncomfortable voting, then we'll just put it off to the next
Yeah,
meeting.
let's put it off.
Okay,
I really didn't read it because of that.
that's fine. Put it off. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is an interpretation relating to the Collins Farm. And is the building inspector or the CEO coming tonight? You know?
Ken Pratt was going to try to make it, but he had a court appearance at 6 that was going to get canceled, so he was hoping to get here.
Okay.
You want to do that second then?
Do we have any representatives from the Collins here? No. Okay. Well, we can put that off and do that second. The next one is Allen. Were the Allens? No. Were the Allens notified to be here tonight?
They brought that here today, they just asked if the zoning board could look at their application and decide if they needed to go for a variance or not.
Okay. We really need to have the applicant present
Yeah,
before we
he was in
discuss
the
anything.
hospital, she just came and dropped it off.
Okay. I mean, it's a due process issue. I mean, you can't talk about somebody's application unless they are actually present and have a representative present. So, hey Bob, how are you?
Good. Do the minutes.
So, do we know whether the Allens are coming tonight?
No, they were not, because he was
They're
in the
not gonna
hospital, yeah, they. We're hoping for an interpretation like the Collins Farm, just to see if it's actually a zoning issue or not.
All right. Since Bob, since you showed up, when we do the minutes from the January meeting, do you feel comfortable voting? You probably can't vote since you weren't at the meeting.
I wouldn't know if they were.
So we can't do the minutes anyway, so we're gonna have to wait until the next meeting. All right, so, what does the board want to do? I mean, I don't want to proceed with the Allen application if the applicant is not present.
I agree.
I mean, he needs to describe what's going on his project, and, you know, I've got a bunch of questions for him about, you know, his project and his building and what's being proposed, and
I think we
Those
should
kinds of things.
ask them to fill out an application.
Oh, they did?
they did. They did.
They filled out, well, maybe, I got this permit application, if that's what you're referring to. That's for the building inspector. They can fill out the area variance. I have no idea. At least I didn't see it, so maybe you're not.
No, you're not right.
You know, he talks about setbacks, he gives us law. But I have no context of,
Okay, so,
I don't know if he paid the fee, you know, all that stuff.
okay, so here's what we need to do on the Allen application. He needs to come to the meeting. We do have the denial from the building inspector of his permit.
Of the building
Mitch, or the building permit. Mitch is correct, we need to have an application filled out for the appeal. Okay? So, and the building department needs to call me
when they're sending these things to us, so we make sure that we've got all the material before we come to the meeting. So then he needs to fill out an application, and then he needs to come to the meeting, and we need to have a conversation, because there's a variety of different ways that we can go, and a lot of it is going to depend upon the information that we receive from the applicant. Okay, so.
I just one question.
Yeah.
On the notice that Quinn sent to Alan, I want to make sure that I interpret our setback right. Is he right by saying 25 feet on each side and then making it 50 feet between buildings? I didn't see that in our...
Well, that's one of the things what we have to talk about.
Because I didn't see that in our setback requirement, 50 feet between
It
buildings.
depends on how you interpret the code.
It does?
Yeah, there's a provision in the code, you know, and I don't know if I really want to get into great
All right,
detail
that's
about
all right.
this without the applicant
That's
being
all right,
present.
that's all right, but I was just wondering whether that was right.
So I think that's what needs to be done with that. Anybody have any other suggestions on?
So what's our process? We don't have an informal meeting. So generally, if someone wants to put in an application, they would go to the town hall. Would they sit down with the building inspector? Would they sit down with anybody? Or would they just wait for the first meeting with us?
No,
Who helps them fill out the application?
Erin has to fill out the application.
Okay.
And then she notifies them that they're placed on an agenda, and they've got to come to the meeting.
Did you know that?
Yeah,
Because everyone's
Yeah.
new, and I just want to make sure we got
Yeah.
the process.
I didn't, I thought the building inspector got them the application. I thought,
In some towns, they do. That's why I'm
Yeah.
asking, and this is a new building inspector, and we have a new secretary. So I just want to make sure that nothing is slipping through the cracks.
right, so this isn't the zoning application, correct?
No, that's a
Okay.
permit application.
All right,
There's a specific area variance application,
okay,
or it might be just a variance application. I don't know if the use variance is on it also.
It's got use variance, area variance, interpretation, special permit, it's all on.
yeah, they were just notified that they were denied, and that's why she came in, she's like, he's in the hospital, I'm dropping this off, my building inspector doesn't think we need the variance.
So just, I mean, Mr. Allen called me and he explained to me what was going on, and I told him we really needed to sit down with the building department and kind of talk through the issues and try to resolve it with the building department. And I said, if you can't resolve it with the building department, the building department's got to issue a decision, and then you have to appeal that to the zoning board. And I told him that, you know, it was going to be a month to 2 months before, you know, we were going to probably render a decision. And so he was fully aware of that. I was actually surprised that he submitted his application in such quick order, and that's fine, but we usually require the application to be submitted to us 10 days before the meeting, so
Right.
we all get a chance to look at it. You know, given his situation, and because we haven't met for a long time, I thought it was going to be okay to at least have him come in and have a conversation with him. But we've had situations where people haven't gotten the application to us 10 days before, and we just said, you have to wait till the next meeting, because, you know, we can't be in a situation where we get emails like an hour before the meeting and they say, I want to be on the agenda.
Well, that's what I told her, I said they can't
Right.
take a
Well,
motion.
so that was the next thing I was going to bring up. So we can't get it even that day. You know, it's like,
No,
sometimes you're not in your office, okay. So,
no, they knew that
as long as you
that
understand.
decision was not.
And the other thing is, I think we as a board asked, and you may not know this, if we could get everything at once.
Mhm.
So we get one email with everything on it, otherwise it gets really hard following through what's going on. Okay, again,
We talked
this is only because
about
there's so many new players, I just want to make sure we're all on the same.
Yeah, Aaron and I met, and we
Okay.
just went for like an hour or more, and we kind of went all over all.
I just
I mean, I knew there was-
transparent.
Yeah, no, I
You
knew
know.
there was no way that they were gonna, a
Okay.
decision was gonna be made. I told her that, and I said, you
I
know.
think Dave also, that Alan got caught up in this fiasco with the building inspectors. You know,
Yeah.
when Walt left, there was no one there right then, I guess, in my understanding, it took him months to get applications, and, I mean, it went on and on and on, so he got caught in the turmoil with that, this is my understanding.
Yeah, I mean, he
But we
filed,
can talk to him about that when he comes.
I mean, he filed for a building permit.
Yeah,
He never heard from the building department.
never heard.
He made an assumption that he had a building permit, even though he never heard from the building department, and he went ahead and started building.
Yeah.
And so now the building department's saying, you really shouldn't have done
Yeah.
it. So, you know, we'll sort it out.
Yeah,
So I think that's the Allen application. Does everybody kind of agree to that,
yeah,
that kind of situation?
yeah.
All right, so need to tell them we'll do this at the next meeting,
Yes.
next month's meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything to kind of help expedite his application? Is there anything that you folks saw when you looked at the application that you may want to ask him to provide at the next meeting? I hate for him to come, wait an entire month and then come to the meeting, and then we ask him for, one or two things. But if there's anything that stood out to you initially that we wanted from him, we could ask for it. I mean, I didn't see anything really. I mean, at some point we may need a survey, but,
I just want to read the thing because I'm still confused about the 25-foot.
yeah.
I took that, when I looked at what Quinn wrote out, I said, geez, I didn't understand it that way. You're saying it's in there that is a correct statement that Quinn made?
Well, I'm not entirely sure that it is. That's one of those things that we have to talk about. There's a provision in the front of the code
Yeah.
that says, the yard requirements for one building can't be used for a second building. Basically meaning, you can't, buildings can't share a side yard. But we have to talk about that and interpret it and discuss it and figure out which way the board wants to go. All right, so that's that. And then as far as the Collins application, again, I don't feel comfortable moving forward unless the applicant's here. And on that one, we never got a decision from the building inspector for them to appeal.
Well, that's what the building inspectors, they told them that the comments didn't have to be here because they were looking for more of an interpretation of what the building fell under, because there was a couple different.
So the zoning board is an appellate body, right? So we can only accept appeals except in certain situations like special permits where they're direct applications to us. So on interpretations, the building inspector's got to make a decision.
Okay.
So they've got to decide what this is.
Yeah, I've
And then
never.
if the Collins don't like it, they can appeal it to us.
Yeah.
And there's an appeal form that gets filed. So do you know whether or not that was done?
No, because they didn't know whether, that's what they wanted, the interpretation from the zoning board, whether it was an accessory structure, whether it was a farm building. There was a couple different codes that it could fall
So
under.
this comes down to the point where the building inspector has to make a decision.
Okay.
We can't make his decisions for him. He's going to make a decision, and if everybody's in agreement with it, it goes forward. If somebody doesn't agree with it, they can appeal to us, and then we'll look at it and decide which way we want to go.
Okay.
So you can ask Ken to call me if he wants,
Okay.
but you probably should just tell Ken when you see him that he's got to make a decision on that.
Okay.
And then if he doesn't, if the Collins don't like it, they can appeal it, or if the neighbors don't like it, they can appeal it.
So
Okay.
this
We'll get things out.
This application that they submitted has checked off that this is an area variance to the zoning ordinance. It doesn't say interpretation of the zoning ordinance. It doesn't say other, although he references a decision by the ZEO. We don't have a copy of it. So that's why my notes say, shouldn't we have a ZEO decision? But it was very confusing to me exactly what he was asking, which is why I was hoping, it seems to me there was a neighbor complaint about the bin, and it looks like that they don't make the setback. That's what it seemed to me, where they placed the bin. And they're asking for some type of a variance so the bin could stay where it's at. Did anyone else read it? That's how I read it. What's it? So I don't know if there was a ZEO application, decision or not. It seemed like he was asking for a variance
Well,
on the setback.
that is unclear to me,
Yeah.
because it could have been a variance or it could be an interpretation, because it's 45 feet from neighboring property. And so I think the question is the property on the other side of the road within 45 feet, or you include the town road as neighboring property? So that may be an interpretation as opposed to a variance. The other issue that we need to discuss is the right to farm laws.
Right.
And
Well, that was my question, is why is this even in front of us?
305A says no unreasonable restriction on ag operations. And in fact, I printed out guidance off of the
No, I got
Ag
it.
Markets website that in fact is almost right on point with this. And so, those are things that we have to discuss, but I think these are issues that the building inspector should have looked at, and maybe he did, but I think that he can answer the question and go one way or the other, and then we'll leave it up to the property owner and the neighbors as to whether or not they're happy or unsatisfied and whether or not they want to appeal to us.
Okay.
Does that
No,
make
I
sense?
agree, no, I totally, those are my two issues when I went through the applications today.
It's hard to find, I went up there to go look at it. It's River Road is,
Right.
just trying to find a place. And I finally found it.
I didn't get a chance to, because I just, where is it?
You know,
I guess you gotta go into Chatham,
Okay.
take that little, take
The sharp right?
Take a right and go in front of Met's Wet Harbor.
Yeah.
And go up that road,
Oh, Highland Road.
Highland Road, keep going up Highland, and then this road runs off of that.
It used to come out of the bowling alley.
Yeah, that's what I
The
heard.
railroad gets run out.
Yeah.
It's a dead end.
Yeah, it's a dead end road.
As far as I know, the one that they live in and the one on the other side fixed. I think, I don't know.
Sir, you wanted to make a comment?
Yes, I can clear a part of it.
What is your name and where do you live?
John Fiorillo, I live on River Road, Lynch.
Through the last house.
No, where the gray house on right over the bridge.
We're gonna have a meeting with the applicant at the next meeting, and we're gonna have a public hearing.
But let me clear up at least part of your confusion.
Well, I'd rather the applicant clear up, no disrespect at all, but I wouldn't want the applicant to think that we're taking information from someone other than him.
He made a decision, is what I'm going to tell you. Quinn made a decision, he gave them a violation and denied the permit.
So there's a notice of violation.
I made the complaint.
Yeah, that I know. Okay. Well, that's why I thought there was a decision.
There is a decision.
Shouldn't we have
It's not a neighbor variance, it's a road variance. It doesn't meet the 25-foot rule. And also, he has a concern about side yards, which I don't tend to understand.
All right, so we need to get a copy of his decision. She needs to file an appeal of that. And she needs to be here.
He
He or she.
Pete?
Yeah, she.
they're not married, so it's his property.
He?
Is everybody in agreement with that
Yeah.
approach?
May I ask though?
Okay.
We are able to appeal after you have made a decision if we disagree. There's nothing on the website that indicates what the abutters' rights are.
If we make a decision.
We never make a mistake, so don't even worry.
Well, that'd be great.
If we make a decision that you disagree
It'll
with,
help move it.
if we make a decision that you disagree with, your only option at that point is to go into court.
78.
All right, I'll say
78.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I do have one last non-related question.
All right.
I have in my files an application from January. Did we, 421 Bushnell Road? Road is Matt Rowe, I think, yeah, Matthew Bow, sorry. He's a land surveyor. Lenny is an owner. Did we do anything with this?
What was it for? You know? You remember?
Well, that's the applicant. I don't remember what happened with it, and I don't believe it was discussed in January, so does that mean it's just gone away?
It's been six months since.
Probably just went away.
Just went away?
Okay.
You want these?
I don't remember addressing it, so I believe it's gone away.
Consider it.
Okay, so I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Close the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you all for coming down. Dennis?